The third oil that we're going to talk about in my aromatherapy for home use course is chamomile oil. This is certainly going to be in my top 10. Chamomile is one of the most useful and safe oils to use on children and the elderly. There's lots of properties that chamomile will do across the board. It's the best anti-inflammatory we have in our kit of oils, and it's very safe on children, babies, and the elderly in diluted doses. I'm going to introduce to you how we can use the oils in creams, lotions, a carrier oil, masks, gels, different types of products that we can make using the essential oils. These are all called what we call topical applications, which are applications that you rub directly into the skin. So we can use a massage or a rub for the skin, joints, different areas of the body. So a good topical application would have no aroma. Coconut oil comes in two forms. It comes in a hard form, which has a very strong smell. That wouldn't be a good base or carrier to put the essential oils into. But you can get fractionated coconut, which is in a liquid form, and that has no aroma in it. So we want either a cream or a lotion that's not got too much aroma. But again, if you're at home and you want to apply an oil for a joint that's giving you jip, then please mix it with anything you have handy if you don't have a non-perfumed one. So from an oil point of view, grapeseed or sweet almond is the best if you have that. Otherwise, we can buy creams and lotions online. You can get non-perfumed creams and lotions to add your essential oils to. As I said, you can get an aloe vera gel on its own, or you can get one with seaweed in it, which makes a lovely mask for the skin. Shea butter and cocoa butter are very good if you want quite a greasy treatment. So if you want to make a salve for your lips, or if you want to make a foot butter, then they are very good for using essential oils in. You just need to dilute them in a microwave, dissolve them in a microwave, and then you can add the oils to them, and then as they cool they solidify again. Green clay makes an excellent mask, and you can buy green clay powder, as you can see in the picture there. You can buy that online. A little goes a very long way, so just be careful what size clay you order. But this is some ideas of how you can use the oils at home for yourself. So chamomile oil is probably best known as a calming tea. We can have tea with chamomile for helping the digestive system, for helping you sleep. There are two types of aromatherapy oil that we use, and that's German chamomile and Roman chamomile. German chamomile is the least used. It's expensive and it's got quite an unpleasant smell. It smells a little bit like an old ashtray. It's very blue in colour. It's got a high level of azulene in it, which is very anti-inflammatory. So if, for instance, I used German chamomile on my father's cancer that he had on his ear. He had skin cancer on his ear. It's very painful, very inflamed. So I used German chamomile for that. He didn't really want to have a floral aroma, so he was perfectly happy with the smell of the German chamomile. But it is more expensive and generally people not too keen on the smell of it. So Roman chamomile also has a very anti-inflammatory property as well, and that's Chamomilium nobile. So it's the most popular and it's a perennial that grows about 12 inches high, so it's quite a tall plant. It's a pretty herb though, it does look like a little delicate daisy and it appears in the summer. It was commonly grown in Britain until recently. Now, though, mainly only found in the south of England. So as you can see here, this lovely picture of chamomile flowers, and we're going to talk about the one chamomile that we use widely in aromatherapy, although it's not inexpensive anymore. It's quite an expensive oil, and that's Chamomilium nobile. The benefits of chamomile then, Chamomilium nobile, are the physical benefits. It's calming, soothing for the skin, so very good for different skin conditions. It's also antispasmodic, so it's very good for easing joint problems like arthritis and rheumatism, as well as aches and pains. Very good for relieving stress, anxiety, tension, palpitations, anybody who really is, quite highly strung. It relieves period pains and the symptoms of PMT and the menopause, so very regulating to the endocrine system. Also stimulates the immune system. Psychologically, if you've got an overactive and restless mind, it's very good for calming and settling the thoughts. Good for children who are having tantrums, people who worry a lot, calms the nerves and fights anxiety. People who need uplifting or suffering from depression, or maybe someone who's quite impulsive, would benefit from chamomile oil. Some of the very useful therapeutic properties that chamomile has is as an analgesic. It's very pain relieving. I've used it for toothache. It's very, very effective to use as a compress for toothache and also good as a compress for period pains. We've said it's good as an anti-inflammatory, so anywhere that there's inflammation, heat, maybe through a rash or an allergy. It's antispasmodic, so it's very good for normalizing peristalsis in the digestive system in the gut. So anybody who suffers from indigestion, nausea, irritable bowel syndrome, maybe flatulence, diarrhea, it normalizes peristalsis, as well as being very good for the muscles. So very good for muscular aches and pains as well. It's a good tonic, so it's a nerve tonic, which is how it helps with anxiety, stress, depression, insomnia. Sedating to the nervous system, so it's very calming and soothing, and also a stimulant to the immune system. So very good all-rounder and very safe. So Chamomilium nobile. Chamomile, if you get a feel for the oils and the differences from one oil to another, sometimes it's easy to focus on the similarities, but chamomile is very calming, very soothing. It's a very gentle oil. Useful for most disorders across the board because, again, like lavender, it's got a very low toxicity level. The biochemicals in it are quite safe for using in small children and very diluted blends. One of the best anti-inflammatories in our first aid kit, as I said before, extracted from the flowers of the plant. It's a really good all-rounder, very versatile and ideal for hyperactive children, fractious children, for the frail and the elderly, and anyone who's convalescing after an illness. Pregnancy is one of the areas that you would avoid using chamomile, especially in the first trimester. So women trying to get pregnant and expectant mums in the first 3 months. People who are really sensitive, you would do a patch test. A patch test is a little dab of oil on the inside of your arm. If it starts to irritate and you get a red patch and an irritation, then you're going to take it off with a cold flannel and avoid using the oil. But these tend to be people who are very sensitive skinned. Ideas for how to use chamomile. Marvellous in a bath. So you can use a bath for eczema, blisters, acne. Very good for bruising. We've talked about stress, anxiety, tension and depression. It's really lovely to have a nice relaxing bath when you're suffering from any of those conditions. Period pains, PMT, menopause, anything where we need some hormonal balancing and resettling. So soaking in a bath with any of the chamomile blends would be really useful for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Topical application. Chamomile would be lovely for muscular aches and pains, arthritis, growing pains, and as I said, teething pains as a compress or as a massage onto the face. In a vaporizer or a burner, you could burn it in the room, preparing you for sleep, calming you down after a busy, anxious day, for irritability or anxiety. Also massaging or soaking for blisters, for chilblains. It's very good for the circulation. So a chilblain might be really well treated in a foot soak. That floral smell of chamomile mixes very well with the citrus oil of bergamot. It mixes with lavender really well, ylang ylang. The earthy smell of patchouli goes really well with it. Clary sage, also a very herby smell. That mixes well with chamomile and rose. Everything blends well with rose and ylang ylang. So you can think about how you're going to blend these oils. It's a good idea though to start with to get used to the smell of an oil on its own and then start blending, just maybe with one oil first and then two. I know they like company, but if you can really get to grips with the smell of an oil, what it's like on its own, then you can tune into the nuances of how they slightly smell with something else. The method of use we're going to discuss with chamomile today is topical application. I talked earlier in the slides about how you could mix the oils to rub into the skin either with grapeseed, dilute them with grapeseed, or a cream. A cream and a lotion tends to absorb a lot quicker, disappear a lot quicker. Shea butter and cocoa butter, if it's melted, you can put the essential oils into them then. Measure your base oil, so it doesn't matter what the carrier is going to be, you're going to use 1 to 2 drops of essential oil per 5 ml of your cream or your lotion or your grapeseed, and then you would mix them thoroughly and rub it into the area. I'm a great believer in not mixing up large quantities of essential oil because once you put them in a carrier, they have a shelf life, whereas pure essential oils can keep for years. Recipes for using this topical application then. For arthritis, you could have 20 ml of your base carrier, a cream, a lotion, grapeseed. You could use 1 drop of rosemary, lavender and eucalyptus. That's a really nice blend for arthritis. For circulation, you could try geranium, rosemary and lavender. A moisturising lotion for the skin, if you've got dry skin, might be rosemary, lavender and tea tree. An anti-inflammatory lotion, if you've got a swollen knee, something that's hot and inflamed, you could use chamomile, basil and tea tree. As a foot rub, especially for people who have hot feet in the summer or suffer from smelly feet, tea tree, peppermint and lavender is a lovely foot rub. So using 20 ml of each base oil with 1 of 3 drops of oil. Within this course now we've covered neat oil, which is only with lavender and tea tree. We've discussed a bath and how you can use 6 drops of essential oil in a bath. Don't forget to emulsify it with milk or a shampoo base first. And now we've talked about having a lotion base or a cream, or making a face mask or putting it in a shampoo base. There's lots of different ways that you can apply the oils. Just remembering that it's 2 drops to 5 to 10 ml. Throughout the course, I said I would give you my top 10. So we've now covered lavender, which would be definitely my first choice if you can only afford 1 oil. We've talked about basil, which is really stimulating and invigorating. And we've talked about the soporific, calming nature of chamomile. In the next presentation, we're going to look at another very different oil. This is going to be peppermint. Stimulating, cooling, invigorating peppermint oil, which is also marvellous to have at home. Lots of uses to use for home use.